Hi, I am Mariah Einsphar, and I am talking about the ELL strategies for third grade base learners. I'm taking buddy partner reading and using special purpose reading to help influence the students and also for them to understand what they are truly reading. Also, having them work in partnered groups will allow them to identify certain vocabulary so they will be able to not only read but be able to write and pronounce the words. I'm going to be talking about ELL strategies by using the Miami-Dade Strategies Matrix. I'm kind of incorporating two ideas, which is the buddy partner reading but then also reading for a specific purpose. Part of the buddy partner reading is encouraging the sharing of ideas, taking turns, and using perceptions and questions to create insight. Students will work together 2 to 4 students in a group, and they will read out loud. Specifically, I'm leaning towards biographies, autobiographies, because it's something that the students will be able to relate to. And also reading for a specific goal, because the most important thing I can do as the teacher is to explain what the goal is for them reading these autobiographies. One of my resources is Bow Valley College. Renee Pearson, a faculty member at the Center for Excellence in Immigrant and Intercultural Advancement, she uses this method and found that a lot of groups actually operated more independently after spending some time reading out loud to one another. She also found that some of the students said that it was a lot harder, but the more and more they read, it became easier. One of the biggest things is reading out loud helps create that phonemic awareness because you are able to hear and manipulate the different sounds in the language. A lot of the times that's really hard for ELL speakers. They also are able to create sound recognition and production by the more that they are able to say the word, hear others say the word, and relate back to the word. A lot of the time students are not able to hear or produce a new sound coming from a second language. So again, reading out loud, hearing other people speak it, helps them be able to realize a sound that a word makes. Ultimately, English speakers that first enter kindergarten know at least 5,000 words. An ELL speaker knows about 5,000 words in their native language, but maybe only knows a few in English. Being able to practice in reading a passage by helping the student create emotion and emphasize expression and knowing when there is punctuation to help them defer from the text what is going on. Then there's also 6 key strategies, which you have your vocab and language development, you have your content knowledge, you have your academic language, and these are how you help your students distinguish between word meanings. This is also how you help them listen, speak, read, and write the academic language. And then you take samples from using certain activities, whether you give them vocab worksheets from the words that they've been learning in the text, dissecting words by having them figure out the root word, the prefix, or the suffix. Another strategy is being able to guide the interaction between the students, whether it's pairing them up with different students or having the teacher work with them or having a volunteer teacher work with them as well so that they are able to hear it correctly and then try to reciprocate what they just heard. Metacognition and authentic assessment is where they pre-read and pre-write to help learn those skills. And explicit instruction is essentially the grade level concept, which is examining the process that helps create the classifications, comparing, and synthesizing. And we're focusing more on the 3rd grade level due to testing. Strategy 5 is meaning-based content and universal themes. It's introducing more concepts through familiar resources like using the autobiographies and then pairing it with another lesson that we've learned in class. Creates prompts, creates visuals, and most importantly, themes. Strategy 6, and the last one, is modeling, whether it's using a graphic organizer to help create understanding, comparing and contrasting different ideas that the students can literally see how it works. These are all of the concepts, and this is for a 3rd grade level. This is for my partnered reading group assignment. I wanted to give a demonstration. So I will have my students all pick out a book. My one book that I'm going to use for a demonstration would be the autobiography, The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. Not all the groups will have the same autobiography. I really want them to all have a different autobiography throughout their groups so everybody can kind of take turns, because we're going to rotate out our books. So this week one group would do the Diary of Anne Frank, and then another group would do an autobiography about Dr. Seuss and his life. But that way everybody will get a chance to read different books, so it's not the same book every time we do our read aloud groups. And then the other students can also talk about what their books were about. So basically everybody will get a book, and I will have a few questions on the board. Questions like, what do you think of the characters? What can you take away from these chapters that you have read? Have them outline certain things that stood out to them, and then we'll talk about it on the board. And hopefully the more that they are able to see the questions that I'm looking for, the more that they will be able to make connections to the story, along with picking up more vocab words and more comprehension, and be able to talk with the other students about what they were able to understand. And then once we have done that, the rest of the time will go for them to be able to read. I will walk around. I will monitor how the reading is going, whether I need to step in and help them on a word. And also I will have an assistant go around and help as well. I can't wait to use this demonstration one day in my classroom, and thank you very much.